Okay, so this is part 2 of test 3. The amount of profit P made by the cheerleaders after selling poinsettias for a fundraiser is given by the function, where N is the number of poinsettias sold. So N is the number of poinsettias sold. What is the correct interpretation of this function? So let's look through our answer choices. The cheerleaders must sell more than 20 poinsettias to make a profit. Well, I know P stands for profit because that is what my problem told me. So, looking at my calculator, if they sell 20 poinsettias, then I would have to plug in 20 for N. So my equation would look like 25 times 20, because I'm plugging 20 in for N, minus 500. So if they sell 20 poinsettias, they will make a profit of 0. And right away I can already see that this must be true. They have to sell more than 20 poinsettias to make a profit. If they sell 20 or less, then they are not going to make any profit. So my answer is A. Number 11. Which of these are characteristics of the parent function of a linear equation? So we're looking at the parent function of a linear equation. If you notice, linear has the word line in it. And because we're looking at the parent function, which originates all other functions, we're looking at a line that goes through the origin. And it looks like this. So does the parent function of a linear equation pass through the origin? Yes, it does, because it originates all of the functions. It has to pass. So 1 is correct. 2. The parent function of a linear equation has an x squared term. No. We only have y equals x and y equals x squared, but the linear parent function is y equals x, and that does not have an x squared term. So 2 is wrong. The range of the linear parent function is all real numbers? Yes. If you look at the range, you're looking at the y, because remember, x and y went to the doctor. So we're looking at range, we're looking at y. And here we can see that we're going from negative infinity to positive infinity on the y-axis, which means that the range is all real numbers. The domain of the linear parent function is all real numbers greater than 0? No, because we're going from negative infinity to positive infinity. We have an arrow that is pointing up and to the right, and an arrow that's pointing down and to the left. So both the domain and the range are all real numbers. That means that 4 is wrong. That means our answer has to be C. Number 12, determine the value of B if it's a solution to the equation. So here we can see that we are given an x value and a y value. Our x is 5 and our y is negative 2. So I'm going to plug in what I know. I know y is negative 2, so I'm going to plug in a negative 2 for y. Minus 3 equals 2 parentheses. And my x is 5, so 5 squared plus b times 5. Okay, so negative 2 minus 3 is the same thing as negative 5. 2 times 5 squared is 50 plus b times 5. So I want to put all my variables on one side and all my numbers on the other side. That is my goal. I have only one b and it is already on the right side. I want to leave that there. But I'm going to move this 50 over so that I can put all my numbers on the left. And I'm going to move a positive 50 by doing the opposite, which is to subtract it. That goes away and I'm left with b times 5 equals negative 55. My b is being multiplied times the 5. It's outside the parentheses. So I'm going to divide by 5. I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying by 5. And I'm left with b equals negative 11. So my answer is A, negative 11. Number 13. One way to represent the function f of x is to use a mapping diagram like the one below, which is not another correct way to represent f of x. Okay, so that means that we are going to have to look at several answer choices. X is every integer between negative 3 and 4. So I'm looking at numbers between negative 3 and 4. No, because where is negative 1? Negative 1 is also an integer between negative 3 and 4. So A is wrong. B, f of x equals negative, which is paired with the 6, that's true. 0 paired with the 2, that's true. 1, which is paired with 0, that's true. 2 is paired with negative 2, that's true. 3 is also paired with negative 4, that's true. And actually, as soon as I read that, I'm looking for the one that is not true. And because 1 is not true, we're not using every integer between negative 3 and 4. Because every integer between negative 3 and 4, that means negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Those are all the numbers that are between negative 3 and 4, well, all the integers. And since we're missing that negative 1, we're not using every integer, so our answer has to be A. We're looking for the one that is not correct. Number 14. This graph shows the number of visits to a website during 1 week, which is not true for the graph above. There were 600 visits to the website on Wednesday. So on Wednesday we see that we had 6, but 6 what? 6,000. Not 600 visits, but 6,000 visits. So right away I can already see that my answer is A. Okay, so we have finished going through part 2 of test